Good morning, everyone. How is everybody today? Yay. It's a joy to be back. We missed you all. We've had I always count my time away by Sundays. We were gone 3 Sundays, and that's a little too long for me. So anyway, it's good to be back. We're going to start with a reading from Whispers from Eternity. This is Yogananda's book of prayer demands and poems. And this is number 122. 122. It's called Satisfy My Soul Hunger. O all-pervading Spirit, the breeze of thy inspiration has removed every cloud from my heart. The firmament of my mind is now clear. Purified I behold only thee everywhere. The sunshine of thy joy spreads rapidly to the farthest shores of my being. After long ages of hunger, I feed on thy light. By thy grace and by my constant wakefulness in thee, may this joy be mine forever, forever, and forever. Our topic this morning, who are the true Christians, reminds me of the story of the little boy that was walking along the beach one day, and he sees this matronly woman sitting on a blanket on the beach. So he goes up to her and he says, "Are you a Christian?" And she says, "Yes." And he says, "Okay, will you hold my quarter while I go swimming?" There was a man that was walking, a very wise and spiritual man that was walking along a path in India. And he sees this man in a distance standing with his one leg up. And he thought, well, that's a really strange pose. So he starts walking closer to him. And he's still thinking, this is very strange. But then he happens to look into his eyes. And he sees so much joy in his eyes. He sees what he's looking for in those eyes. Joy, love, peace, all those qualities of spirit. We find then those are the things that we're seeking in this world, not the things of the world. And our reading this morning, the Gita, was very strong about desire, wasn't it? It talked about how desire, even for the wise, can be a really tricky thing. I'm reminded of the book God Alone, written by Sister Gyanamata. She was Yogananda's foremost woman disciple. And her job was to write letters. Back then there was not email or texting, but she actually wrote letters to people who asked her questions about their spiritual techniques they were doing or progress or any questions they had. Well, she lived in a small room at Mount Washington where Yogananda lived. And one day she was asked to give up that little room. And she said, how? How could I be asked to give up this little room? I have so little. This isn't hurting anybody. And then finally, after much agonizing, the thought comes to her, well, nothing is yours. Nothing. Not even this little room that you have, not even this little desk. And why are desires a tricky thing? Because they could eclipse over what the soul really wants, right? They can take over what the soul really needs. It's funny to be talking about desire after just returning from a buying trip to New York City. I thought, how perfect for me today. We went, for those who don't know, we go yearly to an international gift fair in New York City. And it's international because people come from all around the world. And we go to a place called the Javits Center. And you can find everything there, from clothing to personal accessories to gift items to children's toys to furniture to outdoor furniture. I mean, anything. And you spend days literally walking through. The show is about 5 days long. We were there a little bit short of that, and we didn't see everything, which I was really grateful for, because by the time you walk through the show, you think, oh my gosh, what do I need today? And we know how much fun, desires. I was thinking how much fun shopping is, right? We all know that. But on a deeper level, What are we really seeking? A joy that goes beyond buying the next thing. It's nothing wrong with having things of the world, but when they eclipse what the soul is really looking for, when they upstage what we're really trying to feel, what we're really trying to experience. We had a beautiful celebration last night, Guru Night. It's our annual celebration of the gurus because they remind us what are the desires that we want to have. We can have desires for beauty, right? We can have desires for friendship, for experiencing love, for service, for joy. Those are the ones we want to cultivate. And these gurus came to show us how to cultivate those desires, right? But it's hard. We talk about that when we're on our own. We go to New York City. We forget about everything. We just eat our bagels and shop all day. It's easy to forget. But what do we need? We need environment, right? We need to hang out with those who live in that consciousness. That's why we do Guru Night, so we can be reminded of that consciousness. And as we heard last night, every single guru brings their own unique trait, their own unique quality, right? We heard that Lahiri Mahashaya, he was the harbinger of Kriya Yoga. He brought us the ultimate technique of self-realization, Kriya Yoga. But as David was saying last night, he was a householder. He had family. He was an accountant, right? We can think, what do these gurus know about us? They're self-realized. What do they know? But they know. Hearing about the life of Yogananda, read his book. It's called Mejda, about his childhood. He went through so many of the things we went through. He lost a pet goldfish, and he was distraught. He lost his mother at a very, very young age. These gurus come to bring us that reminder, okay, to help us cultivate that desire. And then we need to surround ourselves with those who are trying to do the same thing, those who will remind us, right? That's why environment, that's why we talk so much about community, coming to Sunday service so we can support each other. Swami Kriyananda, how often would he walk into a room and say, "Good morning, great souls," and everyone in the room would turn around and say, "Who is he talking to?" He would constantly remind us who we really are. We are great souls, okay? We're not these desires. We're not these things that we think are so important and we hold on to. I'm so glad I can wear blue now. When I used to wear white, you'd always get something on it, you get something new instantly, you just put it on you, and nothing lasts. Nothing lasts in this world. And that's what this topic is, a reminder, not to scare us, not to say we can't have things, but remember to cultivate. That's what is really important. Look into one of these eyes and see that joy, see those qualities. Those will last forever. And through that, then, we can cultivate all those wonderful things. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. The first chant we sang, seek ye first. Seek God first. All things come. All things come. You get to go to New York. You get to eat bagels. You get to do any of these things because God loves us so much. He's not trying to keep these things from us. But seek God first and all will be answered. So Daiva will also be sharing. God bless you all.
Good morning, everyone. Fortunately, I didn't have to go shopping. Thank God for small favors. I didn't have to go to New York either. There's a saying that, who are true Christians? There's a saying, that going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in your garage makes you a car. Which isn't to say we should all leave church and forget about it, but I gave a presentation yesterday. I was asked to give a presentation at a nearby healing arts center. And I've been at this for a fair amount of time in this life. And the conversation was, why settle for success? Why settle for success? And it was an interesting couple of hours because in the room were some professionals who were very successful. They were real healers. And they had been at it a fair amount of time. And yet they were looking for something else. And they were looking for, how can I be more successful? How can I, have a greater impact in the world? How can I have the efforts that I put out into this world be more meaningful? The things that come back for the efforts that I put into what I do, how can I have that be more satisfying? Real questions. Real questions. We first have to be successful. We first have to learn. The path is so sweet. Just going to church isn't enough. Going to church helps. It gives us an anchor. It gives us a cornerstone. It gives us a reminder on a regular basis. But growth is a long and involved process, and we don't go from the gutter to liberation in one fell swoop. We have so many aspects to our nature to have to refine. And as we move through the path, it becomes increasingly subtle and increasingly difficult to discern what is true inspiration, what's really coming from guidance from above, and what is just simply my imagination or my misunderstanding even. Rechurning things. Because everybody wants the same thing, and religion is about fulfilling the thing we really want. It's about helping us find real happiness, helping us find lasting qualities of love and joy and freedom and power and wisdom and wholeness, the things that we refer to. There's 8 qualities of God. I mean, there's just 8, count them. There's joy and there's wisdom and there's love and there's power, and there's calmness and peace, and there's light and sound. We all covered those things. We get up in the morning yearning. Nobody gets up in the morning going, gosh, I just can't wait for somebody else to take over my life. Really? Nobody gets up in the morning going, gosh, I just can't wait to be more restless today. We may do a lot of things that make us more restless, but nobody's seeking that. Nobody seeks to wake up in the morning and be more hated by the end of the day. We're all seeking love. We're all seeking joy. And if we boil it down, it was a very interesting process because once you're successful at something and you realize that it wasn't enough, there's really no place to turn. And what we do is we simply, because we don't know what to do next, we simply turn and try and become successful at something else, thinking, well, I just picked the wrong thing. But what the masters tell us is that we have to go away. When we're engaged in the process of yearning, when we're engaged in the process of becoming, we feel very satisfied. We feel engaged because energy is moving through us. There's real secrets to how it works, how satisfaction works, how we can glean it. But the second we accomplish, it always feels empty because the movement of energy is done, and nothing external can ever satisfy us. And that's the only problem with desire. But we just take and we don't know what to do, so we turn our attention to the next desire. What we have to understand is there is no outer thing in itself that's going to complete us, that's going to satisfy. Jesus said, lay up your treasures in heaven where moth and rust cannot get at them. She's talking about spilling on your little white outfit. Moth and rust, isn't that great? Moth and rust, they get at everything. Staining and disintegration and decay. But they give us the hint of where real lasting value can happen, where real lasting joy and real lasting power and meaning can be found. And we have to be extremely active and extremely engaged in order to accomplish that. That's the whole story of the Bhagavad Gita, is that we have to engage in life. But the difference between a worldly person and a yogi, a worldly person, we go out into the world and we're trying our desires. We're going to be happy finally when I get the car, when I get the girl, when I get the house, when I get the job, when I get the millions, when I get the camera so I can take the pictures of the beautiful scene I'm in. Then I'll be happy. We're trying to get from the world. The yogi, and it never works. That's the problem. It never works. The yogi goes inside. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Be still and know. The yogi goes inside. He sits deeply in stillness with an uplifted consciousness, not sleep. If sleep, it's not the stillness of sleep or death. If those worked, we'd all be liberated. We've done that a lot. We've tried it a lot. We have to have the power of stillness combined with the power of alertness and awareness, which is what meditation is. And in that state, if we know how to do it and we're supported in it, we go deeply in it, we fill up. in the stillness, we discover this ocean of joy, this fountain of love, this wave of peace and calmness and fortitude. And then we get up, because most of us can't sit that long. We get up, and then we have to do something, and then all of that overflows into our family life, our job, and instead of it being, oh, I put out so much energy and nothing came back, it's, I need a place to put all this energy. The reason they're up on the altar is because we recognize in them the things, the qualities that we're seeking. We recognize in them the things that we're aspiring to. We remember, when we see them, we remember that it's possible, and we know that they figured it out. We have classes on a regular basis. You know, it's so easy, it's so deceptive. The people yesterday were so sincere. They just want more out of their lives. They're already doing all the right things, and it's not enough. We have classes on a regular basis for several reasons, and many times if people are wise, they come back to those classes over and over and over and over. For several reasons. And I don't see it happening here much. I really see people thinking that they've taken something once and they've done it. But there's increasing nuance, there's increasing understanding, there's increasing subtlety. And also just being together. Last night was brilliant. Lorna, thank you. The conductor takes the bow for the entire orchestra. So take the bow for the cast of thousands that helped you put on Guru Night last night. It was just so stunning. It was a beautiful and inspired evening, and people were weeping by the end of it, just going around to the different shrines and just hearts open, just weeping, because again, you could feel what I'm seeking is possible, and it's just within my grasp, it's just there. But then the world claims us, coming back together over and over and over, not in tedium, not in constant repetition of the same thing, but coming back to refresh at our core, coming back together to be together and look around. Every one of these souls here is so filled with light and inspiration. I'm kind of wandering in the talk today, but it's been a rich few weeks. I don't like spending a lot of my time in tin cans. I don't like cars very much. And, you know, it's a desire, you know, see how subtle it is? I like my life differently, right? That's all I desire is I want different. I'll be happy when I don't have to spend my time in cars. I don't have to drive all the time. So anyway, I get a little impatient when I'm driving. And Master's decided he's going to do a course correction for me. So I got pulled over a couple days ago. Yeah, no, everything's a blessing if you know how to. Once you're a disciple, everything that comes to you is by the hand of the guru. And we had Melissa. Melissa was in the car. It was her birthday, and we were taking her out. Darshan and Gangamata were taking her out for a little birthday brunchy thing. And so I was just cruising with traffic, and I was a little bit faster in traffic, not much, 2 or 3, 4 miles an hour, but they were going faster. So anyway, I had my wallet in the back. Now, I don't listen to news. I don't listen to radio. I don't watch the news. I don't pay much attention to this larger world. Why would you? It's insane. But anyway, so the cop pulls me over, the motorcycle cop, and I'm looking for a place. I finally pull over. Well, my wallet's in the back. So I simply get out of the car and flip the lid, and I'm going, he goes, "What are you doing?" You're going to want my billfold, right? He goes, "You can't do this." People are getting shot. People are getting shot. They're shooting each other over traffic stops. I mean, I'm just having a great time. I'm just in the flow of life. And he's just another guy. He's just doing his job. But think about what this world is going toward. Think about what's happening in this larger world, and it's getting more and more insane, more and more contractive. We need alternatives. Not as a good idea, but places where people really live. I mean, by the time it was over, we were good friends. He was giving me advice on how to handle it. He said, "You were going too fast. I can't just give you a warning, but if you show up in the thing," I mean, it was a great thing. He says, "I'm not really afraid of you, but you can't do this. You should, if I was somebody else, I would have shot you by now," is basically what he was saying. And I realized he was sincere because people, we're getting farther and farther away from each other, farther and farther away from the things that connect us to truth, to life, to meaning, to value. Ananda is an antidote. But Ananda is an antidote if you just come on Sundays and you just live your life even in the community and stuff, and you don't engage in the morning meditations. You don't come to the classes. The classes are this much about information and this much about inspiration and connecting and being in the vibration. If you don't take advantage of it, we just end up still with that haunted feeling that there's got to be something more. If we want to cure it, we've been given the gifts. We have to go deep in meditation. Then we have to remember, get past the outer desires. Everything's fine the way it is. The answer isn't in changing the world. The answer isn't changing ourselves outwardly. The answer is filling up with joy, filling up with the presence of God and letting that just radiate into everything. And in that comes inspiration. In that comes every single thing we're seeking. But we have to get past desire for outer things. We have to latch on to the desire that cures all desires, the desire for God's joy, His love, as our one reality. Let's take a moment of silence.